But welcome. We are glad to have you here. And we have an exciting evening for you tonight. We have four of our fabulous alumni, all hailing from India, but coming in from actually different geographies, as well as a bunch from India as well. And we also have our head of career services and alumni, Melise, as well as Jaime, who is also here, who also works very closely in alumni services and admissions along the way. So before we begin and I pass the floor over, I want to take a brief minute to walk through just an overview of the program so that you have an idea of the program before the alumni start talking and sharing their experiences with you. So ASB is built in collaboration with MIT Sloan. And what this means is that in addition to obviously great education, you also have oversight by MIT. So a lot of the core was given to us by MIT. You also have the rigor of MIT behind it, as well as the action learning that we'll discuss in a little bit as well. And of course, you get faculty and interaction as well from this. But ASB is located in the heart of Malaysia. Malaysia is probably not the very first country that comes to mind when you think of getting your MBA, especially when you're based in India. However, Malaysia is a fantastic launching point, okay? It is one of the original Asian tigers. It has had explosive economic growth. Even last year, when a lot of the countries were struggling for growth, Malaysia still continued to maintain 5.2 GDP. It is becoming a global tech hub. In Penang, in particular, the government is investing a lot of money, as well as tremendous amounts of multinational firms are moving there. It's known for building over 5% of the global semiconductors, but the business is much more than semiconductors. And in fact, there's a national strategy to continue and invest in economic growth. And of course, Malaysia is also known for startups. And in fact, the government has also been focused very much on building startups, including even giving some entrepreneurial visas to entrepreneurs. Now, it's also the gateway to business, especially when you look at Southeast Asia. So we have the Johor Singapore connection, but if you look, Singapore, what's being its powerful little size, but if you notice that the regional for the economic cross border is actually twice as big or more than that of Singapore. And there's tremendous cross border work as well as partnerships that go on and companies that are doing business in both Singapore and Malaysia based there. It's got Malaysia itself, it's home to 92 out of Asia's Fortune 500 network. And we've launched the TRX Financial District, which is Malaysia's first ESG anchored international financial center. It has over 120 MNCs, as well as lots of other businesses. And in addition to that, Malaysia is really positioning itself to be future ready. Now, that's Malaysia as a whole, but let's talk about Kuala Lumpur because our school is based literally in the heart of Kuala Lumpur. And when I say in the heart, I mean literally in the heart. Years ago, the government used to be housed in the city center, and it moved out to Putrajaya, and we are on the same land. We are right next to Bank Negara. We are 10 minutes to Kuala Lumpur city center, where all the businesses are. We are 10 minutes from KL Central, which is all the transportation hub, including the train to the airport. But all of this, and in fact, actually right next to us is probably the most expensive zip code in Kuala Lumpur as well. So you are located in a brilliant area as a student. And Malaysia itself has many opportunities, especially in Kuala Lumpur. You're in a world-class city. It is a very multicultural city, safe as can be. English is the language that is widely used, but you're also in a mixed culture. So, regardless of whether you're in the mood to find a Chinese culture, an Indian culture, or Malay culture, you have all of these together. You have different ethnic food scenes. And in fact, you can get food from all over the world, whether you are looking for South Indian, North Indian, or whether you're looking for different regions in Africa or even LATAM. It's very easy to find. I joke there's not really much food that's American, but if you really want to find the hard rock, it's here. So there's lots, I mean, there is everything. You can get even Michelin star restaurants all the way down to what we call mamak restaurants, which are the mom and pops that are some of the best food that you will find in the city. And you are close to transportation. You have transportation literally right across the street to get anywhere. So our story is that we started in 2015 and we are a collaboration of Bank Nagar, which is a central bank, as well as of MIT. And the MIT's partnerships, we are actually the only one that they started from scratch. And the reason I know that every school highlights their dean, every school has a dean that has all the academic pedagogy. But the reason to highlight ours is most of the deans come up through academia. And of course, ours did too. But ours also sidestepped and took a job running at Credit Suisse and managing over 67 billion in assets. So what this means to you is not only does the guy at the top know education, but the guy at the top also knows the business of business, which is quite useful for you, especially if you are trying to navigate or go into a new area or even want to go into banking or investments and finance because he has a network and he understands the industry quite well. And ASB offers a plethora of programs. So today we're just focused on the MBA, but we also offer an executive MBA program, a master's in central banking, which is targeted only toward those in central banks or sovereign wealth funds. 6 months ago, we launched a PhD program in management. And this coming January, we are going to launch an online master's in management that's targeted toward fresh grads or those with a minimum of 2 years work experience. Of course, all of this is supported by tremendous research, and that research is critical because the research that the faculty do in Asia as well as throughout the world comes back immediately in the classroom to you. So, in addition to learning your classical business foundations, you also learn cutting edge of what's going on in the marketplace. And we have an ASB Hive to help businesses go from literally idea to launch. And our programs, this is a brief overview just to give you an idea of the MBA program. But the 1 year MBA program that we're focusing in on tonight, oh, so sorry, hang on a second here. The the program that we're focusing in on tonight is a 3 semester full time program. Students cannot be employed while they do it because it really does demand a lot of your time. You're in classes Monday through Thursday. You're doing career development or networking or going to corporate visits on Friday. You do need a minimum of 2 years work experience, but it is designed for career changers. So whether that is that you want to grow within your career, whether you want to change your geography, whether you want to change your career altogether and do a pivot, all of this is possible. And you do have action learning, which we're quite famous for, and I'm sure will get touched upon tonight. And we will touch on this a little bit as well in the student journey. But the action learning are projects that you do with companies with your team. You do have the chance to travel abroad and with the optional industry experience, and you spend 3 weeks at MIT Sloan. So you start the last week of August and you graduate in the middle of August. So literally it's 1 year except for 1 week. And our faculty are as global as our students. So our students come from all over the world, and our faculty represent all the countries as well, just about. So 80% of our faculty are international, but they reside in Kuala Lumpur. And literally, that is from Singapore, from Latin America, from Taiwan, from Switzerland, from Germany, from Turkey, all throughout Asia, you name it, the US, we have a different faculty. And it's a great background for you to learn from and also ask questions and learn about different regions because our entire goal is to give you a global perspective and a global degree. And of course, you still interact with MIT faculty. So here's a couple of the faculty that have come to our school this year. It's not always the same group, but you do have a group of favorites that love us and regularly come back. And in addition to this, you will study under several faculty members when you spend time at MIT itself. But every school has its core and every school has its electives. However, I think what sets us apart is a lot of the student journey itself. So when you start at the school, you begin with something called Integrated Management Lab. So we assume that you're an expert already in one function area, and we teach you how to approach problems from multiple function areas so you can learn to think of it from a 360 perspective, the same way you would need to talk to your CEO about a problem. We also have a mindset lab, which is really focused on leadership development. And in addition to learning resilience and adaptive leadership, you also get executive coaching. Now, executive coaching is very common at the executive MBA sign, but it's very rare at the full time MBA, and it is fully included in the program as well. You do the business practicums that we spoke of. Business practicums come in 3 forms. So you have a business practicum itself, which is a 1 week intensive where your entire class goes to the same company. You get divided into teams and you do projects accordingly. You also have a longer project, which is an action learning capstone project, which is a 4 week project somewhere across Southeast Asia. And then at the very end, you have a chance to do what we call an action learning summer project, which is your opportunity to do the equivalent of an MBA internship. And it is up to you whether you wish to do this in a company or if you wish to start your own business, you can go through the ASB Hive program that they have designed. Or if you decide for some rare reason you wish to become a faculty member, then you can study under a faculty member and get some research under your belt as well. So the options is yours based upon where you want to go. And finally, at the end of the program, you have the opportunity. 90% of our students stop. They're very happy with their MBA. But should you wish to go on, you have the opportunity to do so. And in fact, you can do so by going to one of 4 options that we'll share later. So here's a glance at the MIT 3 weeks that you spend. We've got 2 different classes here, including, I think, some of the class. If I look quickly, I'm so bad at remembering my names, but I think this is Jishnu's class featured here. All right,
Yes.
fabulous. And the global industry track, for the last few years, we've gone to the UAE. However, with safety reasons, I seriously doubt it will be the UAE this year. Right now, as we speak, they formed a committee. They're looking at different avenues of where to go. I think they're down to 8 that they're choosing from. And then by the end of May, they will make the decision on where we're going. And when you graduate, the advantage that you get is not only do you get our ASB degree, but you also get an MIT Sloan immersion certificate. You are an alum, obviously, of ASB, and Melise can tell you all about your alumni benefits. But in addition to this, you're an MIT affiliated alum. That means you get to go to all of the events, you get invited, and MIT Sloan will consider you as one of theirs. And in fact, you even get a Sloan email for life, for Sloan 14 email. You also get a 14 email from us for life, as well as invited to all of the events. And our graduates have a great career trajectory when they graduate. So whether it's right now, it's last year, every year this varies slightly, but last year we had a 90% placement rate. Now, placement is different in Malaysia than it is in India. Let's just call this out right now, okay? But part of the goal with what we do in career services is we teach you how to find a job for the rest of your life. And our career services runs tons of workshops. They work with you on coaching. They teach you how to do everything from your cover letters, your resumes, how to do a coffee chat. They even prep you on if you've got an interview, they'll help mock interview you for the interview. They will prepare you for whether it's a behavioral, whether it's a technical. And then even when you go past, you get the job offer. Then you can go in for a coaching session, and Melise can even coach you on how to do the salary negotiations as well. So they're with you the entire way throughout your journey. You're definitely not there alone. And even though it's 90%, once you get past the 90 days after graduation, by the time you get to 180, it's pretty much 100% placement. It's just sometimes people are slow in getting the job hunt started. And so the offers start coming in, and then they have to decide what they want to do. And once you graduate, if you decide whether it's right after the MBA or whether it's maybe a couple years after the MBA, you wish to go on, you can pursue some paths, the Master's in Science and Management Studies at MIT. And that is designed specifically for students that already have their MBA, as well as the Master's in Advanced Management Study at Yale. We've also launched a Master's in Business Analytics, Cornell has launched, that we are now partnered with as well. And all 3 of these programs are STEM in the US, which means you have OTP options of up to 3 years. And of course, if you wish to turn your eyes toward Europe, we have a partnership with the Ed Business School for an executive diploma as well. But my goal isn't to take the screen here because the time is really with our alums. So let me stop sharing and pass the screen to Melise to take over and introduce our alums and the whole star of tonight. So thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Jules. Good evening to everyone who's joined us for tonight's session. Really excited to have you here. And as Jules mentioned, it's not just about us tonight, it's really about our alumni and really hearing it from them and their stories. But by way of a quick introduction, my name is Melise. I oversee 2 teams here at ASB, so the Career Development Office as well as the Alumni Office. And Jules has done a fantastic job in giving a very high level overview of what we do. Um, so I'm going to take you through conversations that we're going to have with our alumni tonight. So thank you so much for Arun, Vanita, Dilip, and Jishnu for joining us. But I also do want to reserve a little bit of time at the end of tonight for anyone in our audience who would have any questions for the alumni or myself. We're happy to answer them as well. All right, so let's get started. Perhaps we can start with some quick introductions so you know which alumni you are listening to and learning from tonight. Maybe we could start off with everyone introducing, obviously your name, but where you're currently located. I think the graduating cohort, just in case anyone might have missed that on the first screen, and it's pretty cool to see that we have four alumni from four different cohorts, as well as what you're currently doing for work. So I would say maybe ladies first, if Vanita would like to get started.
That's a compliment. Okay, hi everyone. So this is Vanita Kanoy. I am currently based between Malaysia and India and from ASD class of 2024. So I started my career in corporate law and have been a partner in one of the biggest legal firms of India. But somewhere along the way, I realized that I wanted to do my MBA just to be closer to business decisions and not just advising on them. So yeah, I made a shift. I did my MBA from ASB and today I work with AirAsia Move as a growth manager and marketing manager there, focusing mainly on market expansion across India market. So
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thanks, Vanita. Arun, over to you.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Arun Chakrabarti. I am from Kolkata, India, and right now I am based in Malaysia, KL. And I'm from 2022 full-time MBA cohort. I'm working in an Japanese HR consulting company here called Priscina Strategic Partners, and I'm working as their head of digital strategy. So basically, I do their digital transformation and product management. Nice to see you all. Yeah.
Thanks, Arun. Okay, over to you, Dilip.
Hi everyone, good evening. This is Dilip Suresh here from Bangalore. Currently, I'm based out here in India between Bangalore and Delhi, heading the business for an Australian global premium brand that's into the business of hydration. And I head the business as the vice president for India for commercial, vertical, and residential markets. Uh, Prior to my MBA, I was into research and development from the pharma, basically, and I was into operations and global project management. And then post my MBA, I was into supply chain optimization consulting, and then close to 2 years in luxury premium cigars, and now in hydration. So it's been a whole different lot of journey for me. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Dilip. And last but not least, Jishnu.
Thank you. Sorry, but I can't help like all the really, really amazing different industries that Deep has worked across. It's always very exciting for me to kind of like just listen to it in a row. Anyway, the oldest in the cohort of graduates, 2020 batch, I would say it was a bit of a risk to be honest at that time because the ASB was relatively new, no longer a risk at all. So I am based out of Bangalore as well. I'm currently working with the world's largest beer company. It's called AB InBev and I currently lead the sustainability and local agriculture barley sourcing teams for the India business. So it's a very different domain from what I started off with, which was in technology. So before my MBA, I was at Google for 5 years, making people click on ads, for lack of a better word. Actually, at that time, I wanted to take some time off and really figure out what to do with my career. And ASP was the right opportunity. At that time, it was good to have a 2 year program because I definitely wanted more time. If I think about it now, if I was thinking for an MBA, I would never do a 2 year program. I would look for something much shorter with the way things are changing. So, more on that maybe later, but very nice to see you all. And hopefully, you can extract the most out of this because I know we've been in your shoes and we'll try our best to give you the flavor of what's to come.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the floor with our first question, and feel free anyone who wants to go ahead and answer first. So, looking back now, what part of the MBA experience ended up being far more valuable to you than you initially expected going into the program? Anyone want to kick things off?
I can go first.
Sure, go ahead, Jishnu.
As of course, at the time, it was interesting and new to hear about action learning. I think everyone used to speak about ASP and action learning in the same tone. And before that, it was MIT, right? So, of course, I went in expecting with a general, more internship concept in mind, to be honest, because that's what you hear and that's what you've done before. But once we entered, and just the ability to be able to get projects crafted specifically on various domains of the business, and then you essentially are working with that company in person for a month, and then overall for about a 3 month period at that time at least. It just seemed to be a lot more immersive of whatever we were reading in class and understanding to be able to execute it. So on paper as well, it sounded good, but I would say that when I experienced it, it was a lot more than what I could have imagined. So that will be my take.
Awesome. Thank you. So yeah, for sure, action learning, right? As Jules highlighted, definitely a highlight of, I think, almost every single alumni that I've spoken to, right? They have mentioned action learning. And I'm sure with, the rest of you guys that probably was one. Feel free to share that. But if there was also other aspects of the MBA program that I think surprised you along the way. Anyone else want to share?
Yeah, I think I
Okay.
can think maybe it's the same action learning program, but for me, it was along with the action learning program, just getting access to different diverse industries and roles in real time value creation that we could come up with in the team 3 months time frame. It was the people whom we worked with in those team settings. I think that was kind of like a crash course to global exposure, because people from different countries and you're in a group, learning how people think, why they think, and what is the source of their thinking patterns, because people come from different walks of life and different industries. I think that was also a greater essence. Like, if you look at from a professional point of view, I think it was the action learning programs. But I think from a personal point of view, in terms of refining you as a human being, I think it was the team that also built up that learning experience for me.
Awesome. Thank you. And I think Vanita, you wanted to share as well.
Yeah, I think honestly, when I entered MBA, I moreover thought about it as a list of frameworks and theory more into it. But actually, the real value which I see now is how to basically navigate from ambiguity and make decisions from incomplete set of information. And that too, when you can communicate it very skillfully or confidently. One thing is definitely stakeholder management, which I learned after MBA, how you learn with how you work across different teams, how you have different subjects coming up, and you have different people, different projects working all together simultaneously. So the two values which the two things I really value during my journey, like MBA journey, would be stakeholder management and also how to basically get it to the correct decision at the correct time.
Awesome. Thank you, Vanita. I'm not sure if Arun, you had some last words you also want to share as
Yeah,
well.
sure. So my the highlight for me would be a bit different. It would be the club and project experiences that I went through. So I know a lot of us don't even like many of us don't even consider that part, but I'm not sure why it helped me so tremendously to be basically the major part of where it helped me was to network with my seniors, even my juniors, as well as industry practitioners as well. So I just went into all kinds of club activities, organized like events and talks. I was the president of like data analytics club and that kind of thing as well. I also participated in multiple the competitions, right? Like case studies, case competitions, and those kind of things. And that's where we don't only make teams among our cohort, but we engage with we get an opportunity to engage with other cohorts as well. So yeah, so even Dilip was one of my seniors, right? So we had a lot of time mingling around just because of the projects and not just for the cohort as well, right? So it gave me a lot of networking opportunities, and of course with the industry practitioners as well. I was already talking to a lot of industry experts, and down the line, it basically I changed my pitch to "Can you give me a job?" kind of kind of pitch, right? So that helped me in networking way. So club and project experiences was one of the things I really admire.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing, guys. I mean, just to sum up some of the key words that you guys had shared, right? Yes, action learning or learning in action, having that diverse exposure to people and industries, sort of this ecosystem that's around you, navigating ambiguity, stakeholder management, either being involved or leading clubs, and of course, your project experiences and the network. What I'm seeing is that there's a very common thread amongst all these key experiences that you've shared, and that's really the people, right? And that's what we see a lot in that's made the MBA at ASB very unique is the people that you surrounded by, the ecosystem, and that's what's made the experience much more enriching. But also being able to practice and learn and relearn all these things in a really safe space. And so, that's really great to see that you guys have gotten a chance to be exposed and grow in these areas in a safe space. Okay, so I'm going to move on to a rapid fire question, right? And the tricky part is always choosing just one word. So, what's one word that describes your MBA experience? So, I'm going to call out maybe Dilip first.
I think for me, it would be the most different when compared to all of the cohorts because I was in the midst of COVID. So I would call it as roller coaster. Business
Love it.
management to adaptability to resilience to digitalization, agility. I mean, every day was a new challenge and every day was a new action learning program for us.
What's an adventure without being a bit of a roller coaster, right?
I think it was better than what I could experience in the Ferrari world, I think.
Fantastic. All right, how about you, Jishnu? Circling back to you.
I think definitely growth in not just like from a professional setting, but also a lot more on the personal setting, actually. So growth for me.
Fantastic. Vanita? Oh, I think she's frozen. So while we wait for Vanita to reconnect, we'll hand over to Arun.
Sure. So my word will be experiential. Basically, completely resonating with what Jishnu, Dilip, and Vanita touched upon in the previous question, right? That the experience was really experiential. We learned by doing, not just watching or not just listening to our professors. That was really a game changer for me in terms of my life and career as well.
All right, awesome. Thank you. So, Vanita, I'm not sure if we have you back. If not, it's okay. We'll move on and we'll circle back to you. Okay, maybe not quite yet. No worries. We'll circle back to Vanita. So while I have you, Arun, maybe I'd like to ask you, looking back, was there a moment during the MBA experience that fundamentally changed how you approach your work, leadership, or decision making today?
Yeah, definitely. It's not one, there are multiple. So, um, if I had to choose one, and if I have to highlight one, that would be the business practicum. I know everyone talks about MIT experience. It was a game changer. It was a life changer for me. But what I learned from the business practicum was way more, had a way more impact on how I approach work as well as how even I approach life to that extent as well. So basically, the business practicum, as Jules touched upon before this as well, it's generally a 1 week long practicum program where we are divided into teams and we get problem statements to work on, and in the end we need to share our recommendations on the problem statements, right? Now, for my business practicum, we had to look into this thing called we had to explore the palm oil plantation in Malaysia, and we went to this place called Batu Pahat. So for all of us who are from India, basically, Batu Pahat is towards southern Malaysia. It's basically part of the district is called Batu Pahat, and it's closer to Singapore. It's down there, right? It's a beautiful place, and it's mainly known for palm oil plantation. There are huge palm oil plantations back there, right? Now, the one of the main things that we did there was basically we were looking end-to-end supply chain of the palm oil plantation. So we were exploring right from the ground level, which is the actual like farming plantation where farmers go into and cut the fruits and everything, how it goes into like extracting oil, and then we're looking at Sime Darby, huge corporations as well, how they were packaging things and that kind of thing, right? So the entire supply chain, we had to understand, right? Now the main takeaway for me in the entire 1 week was this thing called systems thinking. That basically changed the way I look at projects, leadership, everything, every decision that I do. That systems thinking changed my perception of the entire business world for me. So basically, the what systems thinking is basically whatever we do as individuals or as teams or even as organizations, right? It has huge impact on other teams, other individuals, and even at a bigger scale in over societies as well. Whatever organizations do, we need to think about the society as a whole in the end as well, not just our P&L, not just our shareholders, stakeholders, right? So that kind of understanding that whatever input I am getting, it's coming from a team. I need to do my team needs to do some work, and then it goes to I need to pass on to the different teams as well. That understanding is basically something that I experienced firsthand when I had to look at the entire supply chain of the palm oil plantation, right? How does farmers, what are the issues that farmers are facing? If we can fix that, it will not only help the farmers there, but it will fix the entire or one part of the entire supply chain altogether, right? So that systems thinking basically was one of my key takeaways. And even today, when I lead the digital transformation or product management, I really encourage my team to think from one, of course, from customers' perspective, but even internally, from how does other teams perceive us, right? Like a lot of change, I need to lead a lot of change management, especially in functions like these. We really need to think about how are we sharing what systems we need to use, what tools they need to use, not just top down but bottom up approach as well, right? So yeah, so in summary, the business practicum was one of my highlights, and the key takeaway for me was systems thinking in that.
Fantastic. You made systems thinking sound so much sexier when you're sharing and how you've applied that. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing that. Now, we've got Vanita back with us, right? Or she's still frozen. Okay, no worries. We'll come back to you. All right. So I want to take us a little bit down memory lane. So, if you guys want to think back a little bit to that point in time before doing your MBA, what was the trigger for you guys to make that decision to do your MBA? And what was the why behind why you decided to do your MBA? Maybe we want to start with Vanita now that I've got you and you're unfrozen.
Okay, I think the trigger was realizing that I was always working around business problems, but I was not onto those decisions. So that really never fully occupied me well. And my why was basically to move from being a specialist to something to a generalist. Actually, I can have my own strategy, I can have my own data set, I can have my own structured and informed decision making, and I can get to my own outcome on my own. Because I used to sit in the boardroom, but it was always like around a decision. I was always reviewing their decisions. So yeah, when I understood my why, that why do I really want to do an MBA? That is what was my trigger point, and that is why I did my MBA. Yeah.
Sorry, to realize I was on mute. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Vanita. How about you, Jishnu?
I think for me, it was a little bit more exploratory at that time, like I tried to cover. This is also 8 years ago when I signed up for this. I think having spent like about 4 odd years at that time at Google, it was an amazing environment. And somewhere I think for me personally, it was more seeking work where I can also feel a bit more fulfilled. So for lack of a better word, like you feel like, you're doing something impactful, the cliche, which kind of led me to the path of realizing that I need a little bit more time. I need a little bit more time. I need to upskill myself as well. And I need to be able to be exposed to various different things. Because like Vanita said, I was also aiming to be at that stage, more of a generalist and explore what might be the right area to go into. And the third thing I think for me, in terms of a trigger point, was also of decision making at least, was I wanted to stay within APAC. I knew very clearly that this is the growing region, and I knew it was not just about staying closer to home, but this is where really true impact was out there to be made. And then ASB kind of like turned out to be the right opportunity amongst all of these leaders. So that were some of my trigger points at the time, which may have evolved at this stage if I was to do this, for sure.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jishnu. How about you, Dilip?
For me, I think it was the trigger point was post my. I was very exploratory in the beginning. Like I said, I came from the pharma industry, right? So I was initially thinking about getting into core cutting medical innovation and research, where I was planning to get into my PhD, and somehow it did not happen for a good reason. And then post my research days, I shifted to the operations role. And while I was in operations, when I was handed over a business, I could scale it from close to $1 million to about $10 million in about a year's time frame, with cutting down lead times on productions and operation strategy from 65 days to negative 15 days. So at a very young work exposure of about 1.5 years, then I was looking myself that, okay, is this what I want to do? And somehow something was telling me inside that I'm not furrowed for this kind of a role. And I always wanted to be more on the building, scaling, founding, entrepreneurship kind of a roles. And post that is when I wanted to move to commercial, which did not happen with my previous employer. And also there was this hidden agenda of mine where I wanted to completely pivot from being in pharma to very niche businesses, specifically in the luxury industry. So then I said, now I think it's a high time. Let's get this up and running. And then that's how I ended up. And I think post my MBA life has been fantastic in terms of opening up the travel exposure. So I could travel close to about 12 countries for work. And then in two different industries in the niche premium segments. So I think looking back now, I think if I had to do it today, I think I would do one more round of it, but with a different kind of a twist. Maybe something looking at building on my own. But I think on the whole contrary, I think more of into leadership, entrepreneurship, scaling businesses, and global exposure is what I was looking out for.
Thank you. Thanks, Dilip. And last but not least, Arun.
Sure. So for me, it was, in short, I wanted to make an impact, but uh, before joining MP, I had no idea how to make the impact, right? So basically, I needed a break from whatever I was doing, and I used the MBA experience itself to first explore the industries, explore different teams, explore different geographies. How does things work? What are some of the opportunities where I can contribute my experience? What I knew was I was in tech, so I was a software developer before I joined MBA. And basically, what I realized is I was a cog in the wheel, right? So I'm not making an impact to the society. Like that's what I felt. That's what I realized, right? But what I was very clear on is I was in tech, I was good at tech, and I wanted to stay in tech as well. That was my focus point. But apart from that, I really leveraged the experience that ASB MBA gave me, and explore different industries. So that's why I was able to pivot basically from an IT sector to an HR consulting sector, where luckily I got a role that where I can really make an impact, right? With digital transformation, with even trainings, training design, and everything, right? So yeah, so I wanted to make an impact, and I wanted to explore what I can do to do that. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for sharing. Again, what I'm hearing is that a lot of what you experience in the program and the outcomes that came from that aligned with perhaps what you were seeking to begin with. And obviously everyone's taken different pathways. For some of you guys, it was a bolster, really accelerating in your career, a chosen career. Or for some, it was a launch pad and doing some pivots. So on the note of pivoting, I want to talk to you, Vanita. I remember when I joined ASB some time back, and you were one of the first students that I had that chance to sit down, have those chats. We had some coaching sessions with. And in that short amount of time that I got to spend with you before you graduated, it's always awesome to see that growth that you've had. You yourself, what I've noticed is, along your entire career, you've had such a fascinating transition from law, and then into business, as you're saying, being more on the commercial side, and now in growth focused roles. I mean, you experienced a triple pivot, right? Role, industry, and somewhat in location, being half in and out of Malaysia. So I'm curious, and I want to ask you, what gave you the confidence to pivot professionally? I also remember you had a couple of offers at the tail end of your MBA. And how did the MBA help accelerate that transition for you?
Um, okay. Actually, for me, the confidence to pivot uh, came moreover from clarity rather than courage. I knew that I didn't wanted this at the long term. I didn't wanted to stay at the legal background at the long term. So that's why I think this risk was easier for me to take. Transition, because like it puts you in a situation where you are in a classroom setup with so many different people, like different people industry experiences, and that actually pushes you out from your comfort zone, but it becomes normal after a certain period of time. So when the discomfort became normal, it became more exciting for me. So that pivot did not look like a pivot to me, I would say. And moreover, after this MBA, I think it gives you more credibility, and it gives you more exposure. So instead of starting from scratch, you know that you're not starting from scratch when you do an MBA. That also makes a big difference. So yeah, I think pivot from law background to a business background was not a very big jump for me, because this ASB MBA that really helped me to make this transition faster. Yeah, that's it.
Fantastic. And if I could just add to that, I mean, Benita has this amazing, humble confidence about her. And she definitely does leave a great impression of people. And I think, seeing you network in action as well was, really great to see that of you. Okay, so again, I'm going to open up the floor to answer this. And a lot of people are probably wondering this, the MIT portion of the MBA journey. So if one of you guys can kick off and share, the AS the sorry, the MIT immersion is of course clearly a highlight of ASB, where you get to go to Boston and enjoy some cold weather for a little while as well. Maybe Jishnu, if you can kick off, what was that experience like for you?
Just for like, firstly, so Shraddha, hi, you are part of the people who joined. I want to just thank you for being brave enough to turn the camera. I tried my luck in the chat, by the way, but thanks a lot. It feels nice to be able to see who you're talking to. So this is out there to everyone else as well. Uh, Happy to cold call Abhijit, Ram, Shahrukh. You have a beautiful name, Shahrukh. Hi. Yes, good. Really appreciate if you guys can give it back, because it's like a bit tricky. If I was in your side, I'd be like these guys just sitting there and sharing their experience, which would may or may not matter to me. This makes it more real. Anyway, so thank you for that. So on the MIT side, of course, that part of the experience is truly, I think, beyond just even what you get to experience at ASB otherwise. That's even more transformational. I would say, like, to sum it up, to keep it short, the access that you get is the biggest thing. It's the most underrated. The kind of prep that I think we were informed to do by some of our, seniors as well, that set up the meetings beforehand, this, that, it really helped. And then once you're in, I feel like you just don't want to waste time sleeping at all, because there's always something or the other going on. And I can only imagine how that's transformed now, right? With with all that's changing across the world. So I would say the single biggest thing is access. It's on totally on what you can make out of it. And just want to slide in a little bit to what Arun said. Actually, my favorite course at the entire ASP experience was this course called System Dynamics. And it's led by this professor called Nelson Reppening. You should look him up in MIT. It is life changing. You start approaching everything trying to look at 2, 3, 5 steps down on how it'll impact other things. And I completely resonated with that, Arun. So yeah, Melissa, like to keep it short, then having extended quite a bit, the access is the one biggest thing I would call out beyond the 100 other things that are there.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, I'm just also bearing in mind interest of time, so we may not get round to ask everyone, but maybe we could have Dilip maybe share, what was that experience in MIT like for you?
I think I'll be the only guy in the whole of the MIT cohorts who had a very different experience. First, I did it virtually. So that that experience was very, very different because we were so excited to go to Boston and be part of it. We were thinking, okay, 2 months from now, 1 month from now, the gates are going to open, we're going to fly out. And then we waited semester after semester. It did not happen. But we did the entire course online. But for me, the college was very gracious enough for our batch to give us a golden ticket where we could go and experience the immersion in 2 years time frame post our graduation, and then we did it in 2023. And for me, I think it was the most thrilling experience because that was the moment I was waiting for a very, very long time. Most of the courses were repetitive. It was kind of like refreshing for me, and there were a couple of new courses that was added, which was fantastic. I think we did one course where we did about technology and pricing, which was very, very interesting. But for me personally, I want to spend a lot of time networking with people. So I used to spend half of my time on the Harvard campus, going and meeting people from Harvard Business School, attending the seminars, symposium, all the events, and then the rest of the half of the time on the MIT campus, going and networking. And for me, like entrepreneurship is something that I wanted to explore. So I spent a lot of time at the MIT sandbox, meeting people, seeing guys who are part of that program, understanding how they started, where it is heading towards, and a couple of business networking sessions, which was there out in the campus. I think for me, like every day in the morning, just walking towards the street of across the hotel and then just entering that MIT campus itself was so aspiring because you could see so many people working on so many beautiful ideas, which is like the core cutting technologies and some stuff which is even not heard of. I think that was like the heaven of innovation to the core technology part, and I think it was just fueling me with ideas on how else I could incorporate this experience and these learnings into my everyday life. So that's been my experience. And for me, the best class from my MIT immersion was negotiations by Professor Bruno. I think he's one hell of a professor. I think I don't mind taking his classes 100 times if I want to be. I deeply enjoyed it because that one course changed the whole situation of how do you change the dynamics of doing business while you're sitting across people from different regions and different mindsets and a different scale of thinking.
Awesome. Thank you. So Access Network, I mean, you guys made the most of that time. So it wasn't just learning in the classroom, but how you are extending and expanding your learning from others outside of the classroom. And, now you can say, people in Boston, right? You can fly there and you would know someone to call for a coffee with. And so while I've got you, Dilip, I'd like to ask you if your pre-MBA self could see where you are today, what do you think would surprise him the most?
I think the person that he has become, I would say. Being from very shy to having got back-to-back rejections of not getting into your PhDs and your masters. I tried my luck with the US and then in King's College in London, and then did not work out because of visas, and then maybe the timing was not right. But I think I did not give up. My MBA was my last hope of hitting that final nail on my coffin of trying for higher education, and I think that came right. From a professional point of view, if I look at it, I'm exactly where I was thinking in terms of like my planning. So by this time, I was thinking of heading business for a country or for a region, and that's exactly what I'm doing. So I think there's no deviation In between, yes, countries and geographies differed, industries differed, but I think the end goal has been the same. But on the contrary, the person that I've become, I think the whole finesse and refinement of how I think completely changed, and then who I'm as a person, being much more efficient in terms of utilizing your thinking process. One of the biggest learning for me was the entrepreneurship project that we had. And I think by far that was one of the biggest learning curves personally for me, because the amount of rejections that you get while you're scaling and building business, that was like kind of like a platform and a playground for me. And what I realized, which is going to be the biggest takeaway of my life, is if you can frame your problems and structure it properly, I think 50% of the battle is won. So that was the biggest learning for me, and being very crystal clear and walking down the path in a very unstructured environment. So these, I think, is something the person 5 years back wouldn't have known to the person who has become today.
Fantastic. I mean, one of the things that I tell my students who've just started in their first couple of days in ASB is that, look in the mirror. The person that you see today is not going to be the same person that you see at the end of the program. And it's so clear. I've met with so many students and alumni where that transformation is very clear with so many individuals. And it's just so amazing to see that it's more than just an MBA and more than just having a degree, but it is growing into, this next level person that you were supposed to become. So thank you so much for sharing that, Dilip.
I think for me
Okay.
personally, looking at Jishnu and Arun, I think they are the two closest people I spend time with. Over the years of time, even though we don't get time to catch up like how we used to do back in the days, but I think even that 5 minute or 10 minute conversation that we do, there's a lot of things that has changed for us.
Fantastic. Thank you. Okay, I have two more questions. I'm not able to get through all the questions I want to ask, but again, just in the interest of time, and respectful of time for our audience here. So very quickly, Jishnu, looking back, were there specific experiences during the MBA, whether it was action learning, as you'd mentioned before, classroom discussions, or working in certain diverse teams, that directly shaped how you approach sustainability and stakeholder management in your career today?
Yes, I think firstly, just because I don't have a, let's say I don't come from that domain, one of the projects was actually with the Ministry of Environment in Malaysia. And that kind of was a direct in to understand at least a part of what sustainability looks like, because it's a very broad topic. I think the second big thing is at the end of the day, what I realize in this job is sustainability is mostly treated as a function in an organization. But at the end of the day, your job is to get everyone else, be it marketing, be it production, supply, everyone to be able to kind of absorb some of these principles. And that's where working in a diverse setting or studying in a diverse setting, I think really changed the game for me. One of the professors used to say the job is easy, people are not. I think it's the clearest execution of that learning that we picked up from there. And I think the other big part, the importance of grit, which we at AB InBev today also term it as resilience.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are like the couple of things which you only learn over a period of time. And these kinds of experiences which have shaped you, the friends that you make, the life skills that you learn, I would say that has actually helped me be where I'm at today from a professional standpoint as well.
Fantastic. Thank you. I mean, grit, resilience, right? All these things are muscles that we build through practice. And again, as I mentioned before, ASB, the MBA at ASB provides this safe space for you to exercise some of these muscles. And then sometimes, you never know how strong you are until sort of in that moment. And you're really forged through, what's that term? Like sort of this trial by fire. Is that the right term? I can't recall what the saying is, but I think in so many instances where it's so tough, but this is where you guys have built just this next level of resilience and the ability to adapt and to work in ambiguity and managing people and working with people, right, all around you. Thank you so much. All right, so final question, and let's just see if we can get through this over the next 1 minute. So, to everyone here, what advice would you give to those in the audience tonight considering an MBA at ASB? Maybe Vanita, you want to go first?
Yeah. I would say two things about it. First, I think I mentioned earlier as well, at first know your clear why, that why do you want to do an MBA? Because an MBA would amplify what you bring on the table. I have seen discussions during classrooms that have been really helpful till now, that I jump to my classmates even to know simple perspectives across industries. And second thing would be, just don't limit yourself to just acads, because the value doesn't come only from acads, but it's also outside those projects, but also people. How do you push yourself into situations which are not really comfortable for you when you try to basically get your thinking out of the box? So these two things you should really know, get to know your why, and thinking not just from an academic background.
Thank you. Anyone else want to go next? Yeah,
Go
go
for it.
ahead, Shishnu.
So for me, it would be again two things. One is be very clear on what you want to do after MBA. You can take as much of time as you want to explore, yeah, like what you want to do. But towards the end, please focus on something, right? So that the reason to that for that would be even the CDO or the ASB, the environment, the ecosystem will be only able to help you for all the students out there, right? If you are clear in your mind. Right. So otherwise, even they'll ask questions, and I have been asked a lot of questions by people like Sean and Rhoda at that time, right? So be very clear on what you do after what you want to do after MBA. Second one would be start networking even before you land in KL. Networking is a huge thing, and I cannot just emphasize it enough. How it helped, how it will transform your career. Start talking to alumni, start talking to your seniors, other classmates, ASB staffs, and everyone, right? So everyone is here to help you, to guide you, and to really even be discussion partners for you as well. So start networking even before you land in KL. That would be my two advices.
All right, thanks. Jishnu, you want to go next?
Yes. I think from me, the time is very different from when I did the MBA. If you're here today and you're considering to do an MBA, I believe you're already somewhere in the zone of people who realize that, of course, there's a massive shift happening in the way we work, in the way that what work looks like, or what it could look like. There's a lot of narratives, obviously, that go around. But I think I would say if you're considering this, it should be for the reason that you realize that there is still a people element to how to get things done, which needs to be understood and learned, and that's a muscle to be built. Number two, there are certain frameworks and tools that you need to equip yourself with because you don't know what's coming next, ideally. I mean, in the situation that we are in today, we don't know what's 3 months down the line. It's that volatile. So if you're looking for certain frameworks and tools to equip yourself with to just be a little bit unfazed, with with uncertainty, be okay to be thrown into the deep end. And then in the time, I would agree with a little bit of what Arun also said, use that time productively into trying different things, but try to get to an answer for a little while with the information that you have at hand at that point sooner rather than later, because it then helps you a lot more than being very uncertain till the end. But all that can happen with conversations, with all the support that you have. But yeah, that would be my advice.
Thank you so much. And to wrap things up, Dilip.
I think for me, it's three simple words. Even if you're having the faintest of the ideas of 20% and 80% still doubting yourself, you've already arrived. Just do it. Once you get into the system, you're going to be like fantastic. I think for me, like it reminds me of this movie Shawshank Redemption. It says that some birds are not meant to be caged. Just go fly. That's it. I would say I think it's going to be a 360-degree change. Go for it, guys. I mean, today I think yes, like Jishnu was telling that you keep seeing all the AI posts coming in, people telling that the job the job nature is going to change. AI is going to take over a lot of things. But I think the way I see it as, and I also saw this podcast of Hyun Sang, the NVIDIA CEO, where he says that AI is not going to disrupt the environment, but it is going to make people much more efficient, practical enough in decision making, and turn around business in a smarter, sharper in a faster time frame around by using tools and techniques which did not exist in the past. So I think you're going at the next leap of the workspace revolution, and I think you still need these skills, which is going to be your backbone.
Fantastic. You can't wrap it up any better than with a quote from Shawshank Redemption. So thank you so much. So with that, we're wrapping up our alumni discussion session, but I just want to check with Jules. Are we okay to go over time a little bit, or we want to wrap up at this point?
So I think if you want to go over a little bit, it's fine. We've got this recorded. So even if you're online and you can't stay longer, it's okay because we'll send the recording to everyone tomorrow morning. So thank you.
Thank you. I mean, we can stay on a little bit longer if anyone in the audience has any questions. And thank you so much for asking ahead of time, Shuruk, and obviously for our alumni to respond as well. Thank you. So we're very efficient. I think that's just sort of the MBA level that they're operating at now. Does anyone have any questions? If you feel free to turn on your camera and your mic, we can hear you and see you.
Yeah. So hi, I'm Shraddha. I have experience in tech for 8 years, and I'm into fintech and investor relations. And I come from Bangalore as well as most of the guys here. And my question is, now that you retrospect your journey after so many years of MBA, what do you think that one thing for all of you maybe that you would advise for someone to change, that you should have done differently to make your experience much better? So what would be that one thing? Yeah.
Anyone want to go first?
Tough one. Oh, Vanita, I think you have it. Go for it. Go for it.
It's okay, you can say.
I think for me, Shraddha, it was more on there's when you're there, there's a lot that you can do. You have a student tag with you. There's a lot of access that you get that I spoke about. There's a lot that you feel is possible in life, and there's an energy that you run on. In fact, I would say, if anything, I should have run on and maybe made even more out of that energy. And now when I look back, I feel like, yeah, I mean, me as a person at that time who felt like anything is possible under the sun, had the access to some of the most amazing brains and minds and hearts, in fact, as well around. If given a chance, I would just go back and do more with those relationships, with those conversations. That would be my take on it.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say, because we have been asking that you have an experience of 8 years and all, one thing which we really undermine before MBA is active listening. So during my MBA journey, I think that there was a lot of things that everybody can share. But one thing when I go and look back, I think like maybe active listening would have helped more because there were so many, classmates, you have so many cohort members, right, who can help you with distinct perspectives. So I think this is a thing which people don't give much importance to. But you should definitely look at it.
Thanks for that. Yeah.
All right. So I just want to also bear in mind time. Thank you so much. And I think, now that you've gotten, those in the audience have gotten a chance to really know our alumni, feel free to, find them on LinkedIn. I think if you have any other additional questions, feel free to ask them directly as well. But maybe we'll have, if anyone has one more question, we can take on one more question.
I have another question. So
Okay, go for it.
Can I even say how like, I think I know it's a long, you all have been passed out quite a few years ago, but how does your day look like at ASP? Like when you are working on a project, you're attending classes, how does a day look like? Yeah.
I think I can go for that. I think there's nothing called as AM PM there. It's the more excited you are, the more things that you want to do. And yes, things do take a lot of time, because I think the first 3 months is going to be more of an setting game for you, getting adjusted to the ecosystem, the expectations set by the college, your curriculums, knowing your professors, knowing people, how they talk, why they think, what they think, and all of that. I think you will have to spend a lot of time there. And I think once you get the rigor out of it, I think you will find a lot of time to have fun. Fun in the sense, you can plan so many things. Like for me, uh, because I had so much of time towards the end of my semesters. I wanted to do as much as possible. So I think we had about 11 electives or something. I did 9 of them. So I just wanted to like pick the best of everything that I had, because I had a lot of time and then I'd managed myself to get things done. But yeah, I think you will feel overwhelmed, because if you're not coming from that kind of a rigored working experience, you will feel a bit of drained out. I think it's just a matter of days. You'll get over it.
Absolutely. But I'm sure there's definitely some fun squeeze in between. I'm so sure that a lot of our international students and alumni who did their time in ASB, even if it's a 12-month program, has probably traveled more parts of Malaysia than I myself, who's been in Malaysia for 17 years. So there's a lot of opportunities to squeeze in the fun amongst all the rigor and the hustle of everything as well. I've
I
seen.
think the best part is like when you're in a cohort like this, right? You will have a lot of helping hands. So you miss
Mm.
on something, someone will cover up for you, and then you're doing better at something else, and then things goes on along the way, and then that's how you build that nice camaraderie between people. And then not only just by learning, by sharing experiences, but also like having the fun that you're supposed to meant to have. I think that's really what shapes you as a person.
If I
Thank you, Dilip.
Go ahead,
if I
Arun.
Yeah, if I can add to that, um, I'll borrow what we experience in MIT. I'll borrow the wordings from there. It feels like drinking from the fire hose. So
Mm.
this is an MIT this is an MIT saying, and but believe me, basically the ASB curriculum is built on MIT curriculum. So it's even the admission process, everything is basically up to that standard, right? And it really feels like drinking from the fire hose. And what I can say is, because I was the last cohort. I was the second last cohort. After us, there was one more cohort of 2 years, and after that, there was, I think Vanita's was then 1 year, right? And I have talked also 2 years. After that, then 1 year. So I have talked to people of the cohorts of 1 year as well. It's even more intense. Yeah. So what I understood was what we experienced in the first 3 months. You need to experience it in the entire entire tenure of your journey, right? So what my suggestion would be to really plan your journey, right? So one of the things that basically Dilip was talking about, for example, electives, you need to really plan out, and the suggestion would be really front load yourself. Don't keep everything for the end. Dilip has had time, so that's why he he took um, 9 out of 11 electives. But really plan your journey in terms of front load your electives, explore whatever you can in the first 3 4 months itself. Don't wait for the end, because in the end you have to basically you have to gear up even more to look for jobs and your career opportunities, and that takes a lot of effort. So front load yourself, start networking. Again, going back to what I shared, actually start networking right from the beginning itself. It will have a long impact on you.
I think just to add one quick line here, I think why I had so much of time that I could take electives is because it started my career search 1 year before.
Right.
Uh, so by the time I was there towards the end, I knew the rigor, I knew the process, where to focus, where not to focus, and the seeds had already been sown. So I was expecting results out of something, and then I knew when to connect at the right time. So, and I love getting to know new courses and understanding what was it. I wanted to always learn about energy. I don't come from an energy industry. I was very passionate about battery technologies and oil and gas. So I took up all those courses, and it was fun for me.
Fantastic. So really working smart and ahead of the curve. Thank you so much. So I'm just going to wrap up here because I want to give the last couple of final minutes to Jules. But thank you so much again to all our alumni that's joining us this evening. Thank you again to our audience as well. So Dilip, Arun, Vanita, I think Jishnu has sort of popped off for a bit or got disconnected, but We're so incredibly proud of our ASB alumni, and I've learned so much about these guys actually on this conversation tonight as well. So I'm just as intrigued too, but so incredibly proud, and we look forward to welcoming some of you guys in the audience, hopefully to the cohort very soon. And maybe this time next year we'd be hearing some of your stories, sharing it to future students as well, and some of people within your own community. So just a quick one as well. I just want to mention too. So myself with the Career Development Office, as Jules highlighted, we work very closely with the MBA students every step of the way. And even when you graduate, you never really leave me because I also oversee the alumni office. So I'm quite um, honored to have that kind of dual hat role. But what I'm saying is that ASB is uniquely designed to have smaller cohorts so that students have high touch points. You have basically 15, 20 people within the ASB faculty to staff ecosystem that's supporting a student and meeting them where their needs are at every step of the way. So I think that's one of the things that, and I've met with many career development officers from many other B schools, and obviously we do a lot of peer-to-peer exchange. And what we do provide at Asia School of Business within the career development office, I'm just sort of shameless plug there, guys, but it's quite unique to the MBA experience here compared to what other B schools can deliver because they have to just, they're contending with much, much larger cohorts. Close access to faculty, to the dean himself, and all the senior leadership in ASB as well. So I think that's definitely, extra added value to building your network here. And with that, thank you so much. I'm going to hand it back to Jules, and she'll have a couple of final words for everyone.
Thank you so much, Melise, and thank you so much to our amazing alums who have joined us tonight. We really appreciate it. Now, I know we've got a mix of students here. We have some students that some of our guests here have already been admitted and planning to join us, which we're absolutely thrilled about. And some of you are just starting the admissions process and considering whether or not this could be the right MBA for you. So just in case you're considering the MBA, I wanted to take a minute to walk through the application process with you, okay? So it's really designed to be straightforward, to try to make this as easy as possible for you, but to allow us to get to know you better and ensure that there's a right fit between your background and our school. And so there's an online application. Once you submit the application, we'll go through and do a short evaluation. We'll do an interview. And then once the admissions council meets, then at that point, there will be a decision. And we're looking for in the application, we do need your university degree, your proof of English, your transcripts. We are GMAT GRE optional, but if you've got the score, we strongly encourage you to submit it. If for any reason you have not completed your university degree, Malaysia has something called an APEL, and NISA in our office is the leading expert on that. And then from a work experience, we're looking for a minimum of 2 years, but honestly, our average working experience is around 7. And we're looking for your career progression and what you've achieved. And just wanted to urge for international students, we are getting near the end of the round of the application season. The reason that round four is the deadline for internationals is because really once we get into mid-June, which is when we're able to process the applications and give you answers, once we get into July, it becomes very hard to get the student visa. Okay, so we want to make certain that you get your student visa in time. Malaysia is unique in the fact that once you're admitted and you have your application, your admissions letter, we do help you with the student visa, and it is very open to international students and does want to encourage international students. So most students that apply, actually, we have not had one that gets rejected yet. The only time people would ever get rejected for student visas over medical, but we'll discuss that with you later. And so with that, we encourage you to please stay in touch with us. Please stay connected. We love hearing from you. Please reach out. And at the very end here, let me quickly type in my WhatsApp number for you. It's an American number, but I am based in Malaysia and happy to answer any questions that you have. So thank you so much. And thank you for joining us tonight. And we look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.